What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Mopods. I'm Mo, and it has not been a minute this time. I promised it wouldn't be, and I'm keeping that promise. If you're new here, basically, I realized every episode except the first, I started it with "It's been a minute," and to be fair, it was a minute every single time. It was like months in between episodes. We're not doing that this time. This time it's been like a week or so. So we're staying on track. And this time I am doing two books for this. I'm just gonna combine this simply because I'm not gonna have enough to talk about, I don't think, for the first book. Um, because it's pretty much all sex, if I'm being completely honest. There is a lot of sex in it. It's not all sex, but like it's one of the spicy um ones, so I just don't think I can talk enough about it to only for one episode. um so I'm putting both these books together. uh no, don't get me wrong, like they're the same series. It's not like I'm putting random fucking books together. um and I haven't even told you what the books are. So they are Heated Rivalry and The Long Game by Rachel Reed. Now, let me preface this by saying I know in the past that I talked shit about hockey romances, specifically in the Bar Down episode. If you watched that, I do apologize. It was the author, not hockey romances in general. Don't get me wrong, I actually had no intention of reading a hockey romance again for the foreseeable future. However, the TV show for Heated Rivalry, I think it was the trailer that I saw first. Did they have a teaser? I don't know if they had a teaser. It was probably the trailer. So I saw the trailer and I was like, you know what? I know this is based off of a book. Let me see if I want to watch the show, but I want to read the novel first. So I read it, and I read the second one, and I enjoyed both. I did. I gave both 4 out of 5 stars. And now, for those of you that don't know, this series, it's the Game Changers series. There's 6 books, I believe, out right now. I don't know if she's writing more or not. Um, and they're all like standalone books, so you don't have to read one to. I mean, besides these two, I feel you should read the first and then The Long Game. Um, and I'm not entirely sure on this, so I could be wrong, but I think this couple is the only ones that got 2 books in the series so far. Um, Again, I could be wrong on that. I did not double check. But yeah, and I haven't read any of the other books. I may eventually, but for now it's gonna be a no, simply because I need to get away from all sex. Um, and I also need to get away from romance books. I just feel like I've been reading them too much and I need something else. I know my last book was a thriller, but still, I need something else. Um, Also, for my people that get uncomfortable with reading about sex, um, I am one of those people. I've said it before. And basically, I was fine with this. I think I come I say I think I've come to realize, reading these books particularly, especially the first one, if or it depends on how the author writes the scenes, if I'm uncomfortable with them. So the way she wrote it did make me uncomfortable. She wasn't very detailed, I would say. I mean, it wasn't just like bland, I guess, but like it was more straightforward type of scenes. She wasn't like describing his fucking cock, like shit like that, you know? Um I mean, besides like saying it was hard, like be for real. Um yeah, so if you're like me and you get uncomfortable reading them a lot, I was fine with it, so you also may be fine with it. So if that's what's stopping you, I'd say give it a shot. You may be fine. Anyways, so with that being said, we are going to start talking about, I'm gonna try to separate them, but if I'm being honest, I'm probably gonna talk about it like they're the same book. But I am gonna read the summaries separately. And yeah, so this is your spoiler warning. If you don't want to know what happens, don't listen. And the show is out by now. The first 2 episodes as I'm recording this. I haven't watched either of them, so I don't know how that went. I haven't even seen clips. I'm kind of trying to avoid it right now. But anyways, summary. So, I don't know how many pages this is because I'm on Goodreads and it doesn't tell me. Anyways. Nothing interferes with pro hockey star Shane Hollander's game. Now that he's captain of the Montreal Voyageurs, he won't let anything jeopardize that. Definitely not the sexy rival he loves to hate. Boston Bears captain Ilya Rozanov is everything Shane's not. The self-proclaimed king of the ice, he's as cocky as he is talented. No one can beat him except Shane. Publicly, they're enemies. Privately, they can't stop touching each other. Okay. That does annoy me. I don't know who decided to market this as enemies to lovers, but they're not. They're rivals to lovers, which is not the same thing. I'm pretty sure I did say they were the same thing in a past video. What I meant by that is the book world loves to act like they're the same thing, but they're very much not. Now, they can very much be enemies and rivals, or they could be enemies or just rivals, and they are just rivals, they're not enemies. So just so you know, going into this, they are rivals, not enemies. The smart thing to do, walk away once a few secret hookups turn into a struggle to keep their relationship out of the press. The truth could ruin them both, but for Shane and Ilya, secrecy is soon no longer an option. I wouldn't say secrecy is no longer an option, because it was an option the entire first book. The second book, we'll get to that. But the first book, it was entirely a secret. Except, did Hayden figure it out in the first book or the second? I don't really remember. It's not the point. But it was still a secret to the world, so I don't get that part but okay. So anyways, 4 out of 5 stars. The reason I gave it that, first of all, this actually stirred some controversy on Twitter. I don't understand why everybody's fighting. It doesn't make sense to me. I like this opinion especially is not like a controversial thing. Like, it's very much everybody's allowed to have their opinion and nobody's right or wrong in that sense. It's just an opinion. So I don't get why people are fighting. Now, part of it, and I'll say what happened, but one thing I wish there was a bit more hockey, like actual showing them have their rivalry, if you will. I wanted a bit more of that. And if you didn't, that's okay. Like, I don't care. It's completely my opinion, your opinion, we're good. Not everybody cares about the hockey part of this. I do. And it's okay not to. It's completely fine not to give a shit about the hockey in this. I do understand this book is a hockey romance, more towards romance than the hockey. I get that. And that's fine. But again, that's just a personal preference. Now, what happened on Twitter, I was seeing, and this person tweeted, and I agree with this person, that they were annoyed that Rachel said that Ilya and Shane scored 67 goals. That was the most bizarre thing I've ever read. It did annoy me. And like, it wasn't to the point that I wasn't gonna read the book, but it was so like, basically, she was 67 is a fucking insane number, okay? It's even more insane because nobody's doing that. It's more insane that it was two rookies the same year. Nobody's fucking, that's not happening. That's not. And people were like mad that this person said that. And they were like, "Oh, it's fictional." Sure, this book is fictional, yes. However, she uses the NHL. It's not like this is a made up sport or a made up league. The teams might be made up, which they're not really. They're basically the NHL teams, just with different names. But she says the NHL. She mentions the NHL so many times. So if you're gonna do that, I feel like we should also get accuracy in that aspect. And 67 goals is not fucking accuracy. So we're allowed to be annoyed by that. And if you don't give a shit about that, that's totally fine too. You're allowed to have that opinion. You're allowed to not give a shit. But you're not allowed to talk shit about people that do care. Like, that's not how that works. We all get to have an opinion on that. And people are allowed to criticize an author, and I don't understand why people are so mad about this. It does not make sense to me. So whatever. That's all I'm gonna say on that. Have your opinions. Stop shitting on other people's when it's not problematic. Like, that's yeah. So anyways, so some inaccuracies like that annoyed me. So yeah. And then I do wish, so I'm trying to think. I think it was probably like halfway through the book, maybe. Is when Ilya asked Shane to stay at his place. That point on, I felt like we got like really good insight into their feelings for each other. They might have not said them to each other, but we like got in their minds. I wish that was more in the first half as well. Because we got more like, I don't know, I feel like we got some of it, but not enough to my liking. But the back half was fantastic with it. I loved it. It was really good. So I just wish a little bit more of that in the front. But like, again, it's okay. It wasn't a huge deal or anything. And like, I do get it, because the first half was them practically just being rivals with benefits. But yeah. So that was a little slightly disappointing, but not, it didn't affect the score, my rating. Had it not been for like the inaccuracies in hockey and like not having enough for my liking of hockey, I probably would have given it a 5 stars. But yeah, so there was that. However, my favorite thing that she does in these books, I'm assuming she does it in all of the books. I haven't read them, so I don't know for sure, but she talks some mad shit about the NHL. Hell yeah. And it's not even talking shit, it's the truth. If you don't know, the NHL in real life are not inclusive. Like, it's a shit show. And honestly, as far as I'm aware, they're the most non-inclusive league, at least in North America. I can't say it for other countries, but in North America, they're so bad. It's ridiculous. I mean, we have like, I don't want to get into all of it because there's trigger warnings, so I'm gonna put the trigger warnings up here, but there are players that have sexually assaulted people, players that have domestic violence. Like, it's terrible. Homophobes all over the fucking place. races. Like, it's so, her calling the NHL out in her books is so very refreshing. I very much love that. Because what she said is true. Like, everything she said up in there is true about the NHL. It's terrible. And they try to pride themselves in inclusivity, and they're just not. So I fucking love that. I love that she put that in there. Um so yeah. Love that. And so yeah, I mean, like, this book was a lot of sex, to be honest. I feel like it was like, do you know, all right, if any of y'all know K-pop, specifically K-Will, I said this scenario to my friend and I just thought it was fantastic scenario. Or scenario is not the right word, but analogy. K-Will's music video, y'all know the one. We got our queer representation. It was nice. It was fun in this first book, and then torture in the second. That's how I felt about these books. It was a little fun, little first book, and then miserable in the second. Second, don't get me wrong, I loved the second book. I almost gave it a 5-star, but I'll tell you the reason why I didn't. So for the second book, give me a second. All right, I'm still getting over my cold that I had, so if I cough, I'm just gonna pause on y'all. Okay, so the second book, let me read this summary as well, and we'll talk about it. The sequel is finally here. Shane and Ilya's story, first seen in Heated Rivalry, continues in this long-awaited hockey romance from Rachel Reed. To the world, they are rivals, but to each other, they're everything. 10 years. Oh, that's another thing. I always forget how long this book's, like, timeline is, because in my head, I'm like, oh, this is happening in, like, a year or two. No. We end with, like, this book, I think we're at, like, 11 years, so it's, like, it is a long fucking time for them to be doing this, and they're not in a relationship the entire time. They start, let's see, they become official, I think, like, what was it, their 7th or 8th season in the NHL, and they started as rookies, so it was, like, it's a long ass time. That's how long Shane Hollander and Ilya Rosanov have been seeing each other. How long they've been keeping their relationship a secret. From friends, from family, from the league. If Shane wants to stay at the top of his game, what he and Ilya share has to remain secret. He loves Ilya, but what if going public ruins everything? Ilya's sick of secrets. Shane has gotten so good at hiding his feelings. Sometimes Ilya questions if they even exist. The closeness, the intimacy, even the risk that would come with being open about the relationship. Ilya wants it all. It's time for them to decide what's more important, or what's most important, hockey or love. It's time to make a call. So I didn't actually read the summary for this second one before I decided to read it, because, like, it was the second one, I was like, I'm gonna read it. I did not realize what I was getting into. So for your warnings, again, do your research, but it's a lot of depression on Ilya's part. And it's just like mental health crisis over here, okay? It was genuinely crazy. I wasn't expecting it, but it was so good. It was like it felt like a big shift from the first book to the second. There was still sex in there, so don't worry if that's what you were looking for. There is still sex in there. But this second book, it was like they're established, right? They're an established couple now, and they've been together for years at this point, and it's good, and everything's going well for them. But then shit hits the fan. So it was good. We start, I don't know, did we start off with Ilya being depressed? Because this one was like more Ilya's perspective, point of view. The first book was more Shane's, this one's more Ilya's, which I like that she did that. And Ilya is definitely the one that's more like, I want to be out now. Shane wants to keep it a secret. And no, look, I will never blame Shane for this because it's fully on Ilya for not telling him his feelings about this situation this whole time. But I will say I had some beef with Shane. So there was a point in this book. So Ilya's like going through it, of course. And Shane, I'm trying to remember exactly how it happened. They got into a fight, and Shane said something like he still wants to win games, unlike Ilya that's just like smoking weed or so. What the fuck did he say? I don't know, something like that. I don't even know if he said weed. Maybe he just said smoking, and maybe I'm just making up weed. I don't know. But that shit pissed me the fuck off. I was about to throw hands. Like again, I'm not mad at Shane, okay, but that particular scene, because he says that while Ilya is the one that straight up left Boston just to be closer to this man. He went to a shitty team to be closer to him. And mind you, Ilya's still up there with Shane as the best players in the league. Like, it was baffling. I just spit. Anyways, it was baffling to hear that, and like I was about to throw my Kindle across the room. I do feel it was like a little imbalanced on that end, by the way. Like, it did feel like Ilya was giving up more to be with Shane all this time. Because I was pissed off whenever Ilya left Boston to go to Ottawa. I was pissed. I was like, what the fuck is that about? Like, why are we doing this? Because Ilya moved here, and part of it did absolutely feed into his depression, because he's on a shit team now, for one, and he's not having fun in hockey, and he just did it to be closer to Shane, and Shane is still winning. He's having the time of his life in Montreal, and it was just like, I felt bad for Ilya. I did. And again, you can't blame Shane for that because Ilya never told Shane his feelings. But yeah, I do feel like it was imbalanced there on the author's standpoint. Not exactly the characters, because like I don't fault them. But yeah. And granted, I was pissed that he left Boston to go to Ottawa. However, eventually I got over that because I fucking love this team. I love his teammates so much. Just all of his team, all of those characters, I thought she did so well with that. Like, and she did such a good job of showing the good side of some players in hockey and the bad, aka Montreal. And as the book went on, I loved that team more and more. And I was just like, you know what, at the end of the day, I was like, I'm fine that he left Boston and went to this team, even though I was pissed off at the beginning. But we got there. We were fine. We fuck with that team. And now the reason I gave it 4 out of 5. If this wasn't in there, I would have gave it 5 stars. JJ. I fucking hate that man. Okay, no, I probably do hate that man. I saw people were like, he's on thin ice. No, cut him off. I was pissed. And it wasn't, so, okay. JJ was pissed off at Shane. So when he gets outed because of Hayden's video. And by the way, I'm not mad at Hayden on that. We love Hayden in this household, okay? We also love Hayden and Ilya's little relationship. Fucking love that. I hope that's in the show. I need to see that. But so when they got outed, JJ was pissed off at Shane because Shane didn't tell him that he was dating Ilya. And it wasn't the fact that JJ was mad that pissed me off. It was the fact that Shane was apologizing that pissed me off. There was no reason for Shane to apologize to that man. And quite frankly, there was no reason JJ should have been mad because he's not entitled to anything. He is not entitled to know Shane's love life, especially when the person he is dating is also not out to the world. Like, JJ does not deserve to be mad over that. And Shane absolutely does not owe him anything. I don't give a shit if he was his best friend. He doesn't owe him anything to tell him that. And making Shane apologize for that pissed me off so much. Like, there was no reason he should be apologizing. Now, if JJ was mad about it and Shane said, like, grow the fuck up, I would have been fine with it. I would have gave it 5 stars. But since she had Shane apologize to him, I said absolutely fucking not. And Dr. Star. So that is my biggest gripe with this book, because I was just like, I was so mad that happened. Like, I had to pause. After I read that, I paused and I didn't read this book for like 2 weeks because I was so mad about it. And God. And it's like close towards the end of the book when all this is happening. So it was just like, I was not having that. So yeah, that literally was the only reason I gave it a 4 instead of a 5. It pissed me off. Everything else about this book, like, was just so good. Chef's kiss, loved it. And in the end, like, as much as I said Shane and Ilya were imbalanced on that aspect of things, Shane in the end did pick Ilya over Hockey. So we're good. We're fine. So I love that. I do love that she put that in there because Ilya was like, we were all always aware that Ilya would pick Shane over Hockey, but we never really got to know that side. Like, I don't know. I don't want to say that part. We never really knew where Shane was going with this. Like, I mean, we knew he loved him, but like, he also loves hockey. And I mean, so does Ilya, but we were in Ilya's brain this entire time. We weren't in Shane's. So it was nice that we got that in the end. He was like, no, fuck this. I pick Ilya. So love. So yeah, I just really enjoyed both of these books, specifically the second. I will say I enjoyed the second book more than the first. And that's just personal preference. I mean, people may probably enjoy the first instead of the second. I don't know. But my personal opinion, I liked both. I like the second more. So I am hoping that they do have a second season so I can get this book. I need it in my soul so very badly. But yeah, it was really good. I enjoyed all the friendships that were being had developed in this book. And I'm pretty sure like I think Troy has his own book, maybe. I don't exactly remember. But I liked his character in this. Also, why are people talking shit about Scott Hunter? Again, I didn't read his book, but like I fuck with the dude. So I don't know why people are hating on him right now. But I did see people hating on him. I don't get it. I fuck with that guy. Um, but yeah, it was fun. It was genuinely such a fun read. I say fun. Um, it was depressing, but it was fun anyway. Um, and I do think she did a good job of showing how Ilya was depressed and how that feels. And not like wanting to tell your loved ones and all that. I think it was really well written. So yeah, I like overall it was super good. I enjoyed it very much. And I do highly recommend reading both of them. So um yeah, that's I think I'm gonna end on that. I enjoyed. I hope you all enjoy. Give it a shot. Whatever. I hope you are enjoying the show, and I will see y'all when I see y'all. Bye, guys.